I'm not going to give it up. All right, I'm not going to give it up. Good morning. It is 6:04, and it is great to have you here on KCMO Talk Radio 95.7 FM. There are millions of people around the country and thousands of Kansas Cityans getting set to go to the airport today. And the Transportation Secretary, Sean Duffy, is very concerned with your outfit. And he's doubling down on it, and it's driving me nuts.
I'm getting pissed now.
I don't understand. Just give it up, Sean. Give it up. He's been on this since last week. Sean Duffy's been talking about how people need to dress better at the airport. And I'm like, brother, we are going into a year or a week when it is the busiest travel week of the year. And I promise you, this week will not be a success, and it will not be a failure based on what the regular people are wearing to the airport, man. So knock it off, stop being out of touch, and just make sure the airlines, the FAA, and the TSA are doing their job. That's it. That's all you need to do. And then leave the rest of us alone. Sean Duffy was asked about this yesterday, and here's how it sounded.
Talking to passengers this morning about your civility campaign, they feel like it's putting the onus on passengers to create a more pleasant air travel experience. I know you're putting billions of dollars into this revamp for ATC to make that better, but can you talk about what you're doing immediately on your end to help with the air travel experience and talk directly to passengers here?
Well, so I would just tell you, yes, can everyone do a better job? Can TSA do a better job? Can we do a better job as we bring more air traffic controllers online and we get a brand new air traffic control system up and working so we have less delays and less cancellations? Yes. Those things. Can our airlines maybe do a better job on their end? But in the end, it's my responsibility to behave well. I can't offload that to anybody else. It's me. And how am I going to behave? How I'm going to have my kids behave as we travel together. How I dress, I can't blame it on anybody else. I made that choice this morning when I came to the airport. So that's just the ask. And I think I'm not trying to put a blame on anybody. I'm just asking us all to be better and do better. And then we'll all have a more pleasant experience. And it's no one has to, again, I can't fine you if you don't comply. I'm not looking to do that. But I'm asking, let's all do this as better Americans.
You know, Sean, here's the thing. My kids overall behave pretty well. And they've been on, for little kids, they go on 1 or 2 major flights a year. They were on 2 last year. And you know what drives them nuts? You know when they start acting out? When the planes are delayed. I'll never forget Thanksgiving. Must have been 2 years ago now. We had a Sunday flight, and instead of taking off at 2 o'clock, we took off at like 8 o'clock. Kids were not happy. Kids didn't behave well. So this is a chicken or the egg conversation here. And Sean Duffy is of the approach that if we just all behaved a little better and dressed a little nicer, well, the airlines would, I guess, be on time more frequently. The TSA would do a better job, would stop groping me. The FAA would make sure the flights are on time because I'm dressed nicer. I did pick up family at the airport yesterday. And my dad was in a button-down. I said, you dressed just for Sean Duffy. So that was very nice.
Such a nice man.
It was very nice of you to dress up for Sean Duffy yesterday. He said, yes, I didn't want to let down Sean.
Do you think Sean would appreciate a holiday sweater, or is that a little too much?
That's a great question there, Mark. I don't know if the ugly Christmas sweater would qualify under Sean Duffy's perfect attire wear going into the airports on Thanksgiving week. That's a great question. I'm not sure. We'll have to find out. Maybe I'll reach out to his people and try to ask.
I know my hoodie and hat would be off-putting for sure.
Oh, he would not be a fan of your outfit, Mark. Even though, of course, I think he's a sports fan and you always have sports gear on, I'm pretty sure that Sean Duffy would want nothing to do with your attire. If he could, he might throw you in the gulag for dressing like that with that flat brim hat and a hoodie. He's not going to be impressed at all. I mean, this is out of touch. And he doubled down on it, too, yesterday when Sean Duffy, the transportation secretary, said this.
Do a better job. And by the way, most flights are pretty darn good. And people do behave really well with one another. It's just
So why are you bothering us? Most flights are on time and people typically behave well. Oh, so why are you going on this crusade against what people wear? What are we doing?
A few of those times where, again, don't take your shoes off and put your feet on the chair ahead of you. That's just, or maybe don't play your movie without headphones on. There's some simple things that can annoy the folks around you that we don't have to do that. And so just be cognizant and courteous. That's the ask.
Okay, on the text line, Pete, I agree with Sean Duffy. Pajamas should be banned by TSA. If you dress better at the airport, maybe you'll act better. Okay, if you showed me data that suggested people that wear pajamas to the airport are more likely to get into fistfights, I'll buy into that. I definitely will. I mean, if you show me the data that says the pajama class is the class that's most likely going to, cause a scene on the airport. Do you remember the lady that went viral for claiming she was seeing ghosts in the back of the airplane? Remember that, Mark? A couple of years back, she was going nuts.
Yeah.
And, we'll never know what happened. But she was a very attractive lady, probably 30-ish years old, went to Oklahoma State, went viral. I mean, she was dressed to the nines. She was dressed well. She got a lot of attention because of how good she looked. And she caused a whole slew of issues on that flight.
I feel like people that are dressed nicer may have more money to buy more alcohol at the bars.
Well, that's a great point as well. I mean, how often does booze factor in to some of the issues at airlines or at airports and on airlines? That's an excellent point. On the text line, Pete, great observation about Duffy, but if you've ever flown with several people that are still wearing their pajamas from last night's 10 hours of sleep, and all you smell are pajama ass for an hour and a half, that's no fun. Okay, I've never smelt pajama butt on an airplane. I don't know what that is. It sounds terrible, but I'm just sitting here telling you, I don't think that's all that frequent.
Yeah, hygiene is appreciated.
Yeah, I mean, if we're saying put on some deodorant, fine.
Basic hygiene.
Yes, sure, put on deodorant. But, man, this moral high ground that Sean Duffy's trying to take on this thing, when the things that he can actually control, the things that should matter the most to him, are making sure everything's on time. So on the outside chance you sit next to somebody with bad hygiene, you know that plane's going to take off on time, that plane's going to land on time, and the stench is only going to last for the hour and a half that you have to be up in the air, and not an hour and a half on the tarmac, followed by an hour and a half in the air. This is unbelievable. I can't get over it. Now, we've got some tips here from Channel 9 KMBC. MCI estimates that 383,000 travelers will go through the airport from yesterday through next Monday. That is a slight decrease compared to last year, but obviously still very high numbers. And there are a few things that KCI wants to make sure that you do to make sure your trip goes as smoothly as possible. And no, they're not talking about your attire. Give yourself at least 2 hours for domestic flights, 2.5 for international. Monitor flight status. Apply for the guest pass if you need it. And then also, this is a big one, and this one was personal to me. Take a photo of where you parked. I have parked in that lot right across from the airport. I did it back in September. And I was like, I know where I am. I'll be fine. And then I spent about, 10, 15 minutes being like, which level am I on again? So I'm the guy that's hitting the lock button to try to hear my car and try to make it beep.
Through all levels.
Yeah, exactly. That was me. Because that garage is great, but, every level looks the same, obviously.
I'm going to open my notes on my phone and put the row and the number on it.
That works as well. I was a little overconfident when I parked there last time around, and I was like, man, I gotta do this better next time, John.
Wonder if Sean Duffy would approve. If I want to save on baggage, what if I just wore 3 changes of clothes all at once,
Yeah, that could work.
Right?
I'm in with that.
Yeah.
Would you bring your fishnet tee, or would you leave that one at home?
That'd be the first level. That's
Okay.
party.
Yes, that's
right.
Yeah.
Then I have business casual, and then I might have a 3-piece suit on.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Text line 913-408-7957. Pete, it's hard to find a reason to wear pajamas at the airport. Okay. Maybe I need to be a little more nuanced. I'm a little under the weather this morning. I'm not supporting the pajama wearer. I'm not. What I'm doing, though, is telling the people that work for the government to worry less about what people are wearing and more about the things they can control that make people happier, keep the flights on time, and keep the drama down and keep the stress level down. Because the thing that stresses people out much more than someone else wearing pajamas are flights that are delayed by hours.
The message should maybe come from the airline, not the government.
Yeah.
If you want to knock off $50 because I'm wearing a tie, I'm in.
Yeah, exactly. I'll wear that tie, man. If I can upgrade to extra legroom by throwing on a tie, I'll do it. Or I'll just wear one of those T-shirts with like the tuxedo on it. That might work as well. That'd be a good look. 913-408-7957, the text line and the studio line on KCMO Talk Radio. Pete, not on either side. It's very strange that you don't want people to do better presenting themselves. No, you're missing the point. I don't want the government telling people how to present themselves. When there's nothing,
airport.
Yes, when there's few things less pleasant than air travel in America today, and I've got the people in charge suggesting that if I dress better, I might have a better experience. No. You focus on you. You focus on the things you can control. And if air travel becomes more pleasant, I promise you, people will dress better as well.
Nancy and Ronnie ushered in an era of opulence, but they led by example, not by decree.
Oh, that's right. That's a good point. That's a very good point there, John. So if you're traveling, try to wear your Sunday best this week, all right? If you're heading up to the airport right now, turn around, go home, grab a sport coat, make Sean Duffy proud this morning.
Picture.
Yeah, exactly. Coming up on KCMO on a Tuesday morning, Republicans are having a lot of issues right now, infighting on one major topic that is just a thorn in their side. We'll tell you what that is and what happened yesterday coming up next. Well, the drama is building as we head down the home stretch of the new year. So this is what's going on right now. And this report came down at 5 a.m. this morning from the Wall Street Journal. But there were stories like this starting to pop yesterday afternoon, so I knew I'd talk about it. But we got the most in-depth reporting on this morning, less than 2 hours ago, from the Wall Street Journal. Headline here, Speaker Mike Johnson flashes red on Trump's health care push. So yesterday we told you how the president had a health care plan that included extending Obamacare subsidies for 2 more years and tightening some of the restrictions around who qualifies and who doesn't. But it basically just would have been continuing the subsidies for the Affordable Care Act for another 2 years. And yesterday, as news started to come out, that was not flying in Republican circles. And by the way, nor should it. So yesterday, it was getting reported that the Trump White House was delaying an announcement on a health care plan, and it will not come out this week. It was potentially going to come out yesterday. And then they got so much blowback that they totally backed off. So what exactly is going on here? There is a lot of infighting happening right now. Wall Street Journal noting that Speaker Johnson cautioned the White House that most House Republicans do not have an appetite for extending enhanced Affordable Care Act subsidies. The message from Johnson in a phone call with administration officials came as President Trump's advisors were drafting a health care plan that extended those subsidies for 2 years. The warning underscores the hurdle facing any deal in the coming weeks. Lawmakers have a mid-December deadline for health care votes, promised as a condition for the Democrats voting to end the government shutdown earlier this month. The enhanced subsidies expire at the end of the year, affecting more than 20 million people who benefit from the tax credits. So you have here now Republicans just not knowing what to do. They're right to say extending the Obamacare subsidies is not the answer. I understand also that Trump is basically trying to figure out what to do to make this as palatable as possible for everybody and not get crushed in the midterms because of this issue. But you know what I keep coming back to here is like, okay, why didn't the Republicans handle this in the big, beautiful bill? If they thought they needed to extend the Obamacare subsidies to avoid a political cliff coming up in 26, why didn't they just extend it then? Why? Like, I wouldn't have been a fan of it, but if they just jammed Obamacare subsidies into the big, beautiful bill, no one really would have known about it, right? It wouldn't have gotten a lot of attention. Instead, what you've got now is you've got this on full display. You've got everybody talking about it. You've given the Democrats an incredible opportunity to just crush you with this. You're increasing health insurance premiums for 20 to 25 million Americans, and you have no plan whatsoever. I mean, there have been different ideas that have been floated out there about, using HSA plans, and that is an approach that the president has praised, but no one's really got a concrete idea. I mean, Roger Marshall came on the show, Kansas U.S. Senator, what was that, maybe 2 weeks ago or so, and said he was working on a plan that he could roll out in mid-December. But, I mean, we're 15 years into this Obamacare thing, and Republicans have no answer. So while I think that the Democrats' answer is just to spend more money, $150 billion in subsidies every year on this program, I don't like that one bit. If you are explaining in politics, you are losing. And right now, the GOP is basically running around in circles like chickens with their heads cut off because they don't know what to do. And now this whole thing is going to get delayed at least a week till they figure out what exactly their next move is and what exactly they should do. 913-408-7957 is the text line and the studio line here on KCMO Talk Radio. So the Wall Street Journal notes here, Trump and White House officials did not roll out a plan on Monday. It's unclear what Trump and Republicans will do to address the soon-to-expire enhanced ACA subsidies, that's Affordable Care Act subsidies. Without those subsidies, many enrollees will see their monthly payments jump and could decide to drop coverage altogether. Some GOP lawmakers predicted only a faction of House Republicans would back a bill extending subsidies. The thought is that there are more moderate GOP members who are trying to save themselves next year who would vote to extend subsidies, but that most of the conservatives obviously want no part of that. So the Democrats are eager to take on the health care fight. Yeah, of course they are. Because Republicans have no answer. They have no plan. And if you thought a good plan was going to be extending subsidies for 2 years, no, that is a non-starter for most members of the GOP. And it should be a non-starter. So now you sit here and you wait and you see if they can come up with something better. But Monday is December 1st. I mean, let's be honest. You get to tomorrow, no one's really doing anything anyway. Then you get to December, and at least on the Senate side, John Thune said in exchange for reopening the government, we'll do a vote on extending Obamacare subsidies at some time in mid-December. And it would behoove the GOP to have some kind of a plan lined up by then in the next couple of weeks. So I don't know if it's leaning on guys like Roger Marshall, who's obviously right here in Kansas, who is a doctor by trade. But they've got to get some messaging figured out because they have none. They do not have a plan. And this thing could be the thing, or at least one of the things, that sinks them coming up next year. And I don't want that to happen, and I know many of you do not want that to happen either. So you can be the biggest food stamps fan ever, but tell me why any of it should be spent at McDonald's or Wendy's or Taco Bell or any other fast food joint. I mean, explain to me what the benefits of that are. I don't think there are any, and I find it to be completely indefensible. We've got this story here from the Washington Times that says more than $500 million in SNAP funds were spent at fast food establishments from June of 23 through May of 25. So that's over a 2-year period. It's about $250 million a year. And it's being highlighted by Joni Ernst, to our north up in Iowa. And she is highlighting the states that are still allowing SNAP benefits to be spent on fast food places. I don't understand. Even if you're like, hey, food stamps are good, we need more people on them. I mean, I think that we can pull this number back from 40 million. I don't think that should be a hard thing to do. I think there's probably plenty of abuse that goes on. I mean, you've got more than 10% of the country on food stamps. That's crazy. But then it's like, what should it be used for? It should be used for Whole Foods. It should not be used on things like soda, sugary drinks, fast food. And Kansas and Missouri actually do a much better job on this than some other states. But as you would expect, I mean, this is something that Joni Ernst highlighted. You have largely blue states that are totally fine with spending massive amounts of money, millions of dollars, on food stamps to go to fast food chains. She notes here, franchises like McDonald's are making, as she notes, McMillions off SNAP benefits. All right, that was kind of corny. That was actually really corny, but whatever. Allowing fast food to be purchased with food stamps is an idea that is a few fries short of a Happy Meal. You're trying too hard, Joni Ernst. Just give me the data. Okay, stop with these cheese ball statements on McMillions and a few fries short of a Happy Meal. Spare me, John.
That's what you get when you let your sophomore write your speech.
Yeah, exactly. But the broader point is this. Corporations lobby for EBT and food stamps. The American people subsidize junk food choices, and then what happens after that? They subsidize the health care of people who are malnourished, people who are obese, people who are unhealthy, all while big food and big pharma make huge profits and write PAC checks, and they shut down the government for it. I mean, that's really in part what happened here over the last couple of months. It wasn't all about this issue. This issue just came to the forefront as the shutdown went on. But, I mean, $500 million in food stamps spent at fast food restaurants over a 2-year period. How are we not on the same page, left, right, in the middle, on saying, all right, if you need food stamps, you got to go to the grocery store, buy some healthy food, feed your kids. I get it. But you're not going to McDonald's for a Big Mac. All right, you're not doing the, what's a popular item at Taco Bell?
Chalupa.
There you go. Thank you very much. I have not been to a Taco Bell, and I think it's been probably 10 years, give or take. I think the last time I was in a Taco Bell was after Kate's 10-year high school reunion, which would have been literally 10 years ago this weekend. I think that's the last time I got Taco Bell.
I think the last time I was in one was actually a really nice one in Vegas when I went there last, a little over a year ago in October.
Okay.
They had a cantina, a Taco Bell cantina.
Oh, wow. That's fancy there, Mark. Look at you. Look at you. Big swinger there. How about that?
Alcoholic beverages there.
I am never out that late, obviously, especially during the week. It must have been last week. I don't know what night it was. But I was driving by a Taco Bell near our house, and I could not believe the line. I was like, you mean people still eat this crap? I was shocked. I was genuinely shocked. It's one thing when the food was like $1.99, but like all these fast food joints, I mean, they're now charging $6, $7, $8, $9 for this crap.
I think sometimes people say, oh, there's a car in line, they're open. And then a couple more cars come in. There's only one guy working there, and then it takes a while.
It was like 6 p.m. It wasn't that late. Yeah, okay. No. I literally am not out past 6 a lot of nights. No, it was not all that late. Like, it was like 6, maybe 7 o'clock, but I think I had one of the kids with me, and I was like, man, that Taco Bell is bumping. Now, maybe you're right, Mark. Maybe it's because there was literally one guy working at the Taco Bell, and they're like, whoa, what's going on here? But I couldn't believe it. Now, here's some other numbers that came out of the study. A 2016 agricultural department study, I'm reading this from the Washington Times, found that 40% of food stamp spending went to staples such as meat, fruits, vegetables, milk, eggs, and bread. Great. Another 40% went to cereal, processed foods, rice, and beans. The remaining 20% went to sweets, salty snacks, or sugary drinks. Indeed, soft drinks topped the list of commodities by expenditure for SNAP households, accounting for 5% of spending on sugary drinks. We've gotten rid of that in Kansas and Missouri. I'm glad that we've gotten rid of that. That's just a no-brainer to bail on those things when it comes to using your food stamps. But still, it's $100 billion a year that we spend on the program for 42 million Americans. Asking for just some reins on this is really not a big ask. And it should be, I think, bipartisan. Alan is on KCMO in Holt. What's up, Alan? Sorry there, Alan. Your phone's cutting out on us, buddy. I apologize. John, did he have a great point?
I didn't talk with him. We had 3 calls, though, 3 attempts to get him in here, okay, so it's been touch and go this morning.
That's all right. It happens.
Yeah, I think he's a little far out there.
Yeah, you are. I'm impressed we've gotten the reach up there in Holt. That's damn good, man. And today's a great day to get in. Thanksgiving week. People are taking off. They're traveling. They're going to the airport. Let's go up to Holt. Why not?
I'll be driving through Holt in a couple days.
You will be. Maybe you stop and help out Alan with a cell phone up there, Mark. What do you say?
I could do that.
You give the guy a little help, all right? Take care of him while you're at it. So I saw this from the Washington Times. I'm like, man, this is something we've got to get some more attention on. And Daniel Turner with Power of the Future is the guy who shared it with me. He's going to be on the show coming up at 8:20 this morning. Now, yesterday you had this from the Vice President of the United States. J.D. Vance putting up a big post yesterday after we got off the air. And here's what J.D. Vance posted on social media. It's gotten 4 million views now. J.D. Vance writes, after 4 years of house prices doubling, many young Americans feel priced out of the American dream of home ownership. A welfare fraud scandal in Minnesota reveals that large numbers of new arrivals are not assimilating and are funneling our tax dollars to terrorist groups. An innocent woman was set on fire in Chicago as the mayor resists federal law enforcement resources to bring peace to one of our great cities. The Obamacare insurance system is buckling under its own weight, and the country is $38 trillion in debt. Our administration is working hard on addressing all of these problems. But you know what really fires up the Beltway GOP? Not any of the above. Instead, the political class is really angry that the Trump administration may finally bring a 4-year conflict in Eastern Europe to a close. I'm not even talking about the substance of their views. Much of what these people have said about the Ukraine war has been proven wrong. But whatever, we can agree to disagree. But the level of passion over this one issue when your own country has serious problems is bonkers. It disgusts me. Show some passion for your own country. Can't two things be true at once? And I'm really not getting in the weeds of whatever's going on with Russia and Ukraine. I think most people are just like, just make it stop and stop sending our money over there. Okay? I mean, I don't want to give Putin whatever he wants, but Zelensky's going to have to give up something. It's just, it's a fact. Zelensky can't win the war. He's playing defense. He's trying to protect what he's got. And he can only do that with our help. And we've been very generous to the people of Ukraine. Anyone suggesting otherwise is just not being straight with you. But I think two things can be true at once here. Whatever certain people's criticisms are of the administration's handling of Ukraine and Russia is one thing. But I think most people are still saying, okay, what are you doing about these home prices? I mean, J.D. Vance sounds like a guy who's like not the vice president. It's like, okay, well, then fix all this stuff. And I know it doesn't happen overnight. I'm not naive. I like J.D. Vance a lot. I'm a big fan of his. But this post reads like somebody who isn't actually like in a position of power. And it's like, bro, you are in one of the biggest positions of power here. All right? So, I mean, yes, I would like for you to focus on the American dream, on home ownership for young people, on figuring out why the health insurance industry is such a mess, Obamacare buckling under its own weight, a country $38 trillion in debt. But, you know, you guys are stacking those trillions on top of the 38 right now. So stop talking like somebody who's not in power. I mean, yeah, fix the overseas stuff. And I will tell you something. I saw some posts yesterday, people criticizing the Trump administration for being too focused on things happening overseas. And I think that's unfair. I saw a lot of people suggesting that Trump has chosen to squander a generational mandate on foreign policy. I don't believe that that's fair. I think what actually has gone on here is that Trump has viewed foreign policy as something that he can just do. He doesn't need Congress to do, right? He can just do it. It requires him to cut deals. So it's one of those things that he can do without getting in the weeds of Congress by and large, and that's why he's gone about it that way. I don't believe that Trump has squandered his mandate on foreign policy. I just think it's one of those things that he can do as a business guy and as a deal maker, so he's been doing it a lot. The other stuff does require Congress, and they've got to get that part figured out as well. Steve is on KCMO. Good morning, Steve.
Hey, good morning, brother, and pre-happy Thanksgiving to you.
You too, my man.
So you mentioned the affordable housing thing, and this seems to be something, and I just turned 49 on the 10th of November, and this has been something I've been hearing for all of my adults that I don't hear anybody talking about on the national stage or the local stage or the state stage or even on your show for that matter. If you look at the rate of divorce, which is between 50 and 60%, when a divorce occurs, one of those two parties has to go find housing because they are, forcefully removed from their home, whether it be mom or dad. I'm not being gender specific. And if I do the numbers just shooting off of my hip, that probably eats up 25% of housing that otherwise would be available to purchase for a new young couple or even an older couple that's going to get married or what have you. And nobody addresses that. And I mean, illegal immigrants, yeah, they do take up housing. It's not as big a number as everybody thinks it is. I think what I'm talking about is a larger number.
But let me push back on that. Most people that get divorced, if they are in a single-family home, they don't then each go into a separate single-family home. Someone usually ends up in some apartment somewhere because that's what they can afford. It's not like they're gobbling up single-family homes because usually they don't have the money to do that.
Oh, no, you're absolutely right. But even taking up an apartment space still takes away some form of housing.
Yeah, but rents have actually trended down because that's all these developers want to build. It's the single-family home that just keeps skyrocketing. The rents have actually held up okay, at least the last year or so.
Then what would you say, like when you look at now I grew up in Johnson County, Gardner, Edgerton area, and I remember when the housing boom started in the 90s, mid-90s, early 90s, whatever. You could easily buy a 3-bedroom, 1-car garage, even 2-car garage, 1-bathroom house. Do you think that the problem with what people want now when they look at a home is if they have 3 kids, they all need their own bedroom. Boys can't share a room anymore. They need more than 1 bathroom. If we went back to a simple housing plan, like a house that I grew up in, which was just what I just described, that would easily make pricing of homes between probably $180 and $220.
I would agree with you there, Steve. I think that people want more quicker because we're in a, I want it and I want it now society. I agree with you there. Great call, Steve. I would agree with you on that front. If we can bring back true starter homes, 2-bed, 1-bath, 3-bed, 1-bath, 1,200 square feet. I know that those aren't going to be popular, but if you can get equity in those homes and then work your way up from there, that gives you a starting point that currently doesn't seem to exist. The question is, can the developers build those? Can they turn a profit on those? Can they cut the regulation to obviously turn those things quickly and sell them quickly? Those are all questions that obviously, the developers have to answer. But you do have some projects going on in South Overland Park that were highlighted on the news last week that are very cookie cutter, but are basically ways to get into home ownership at the ground level and try to build up equity from there. Great call. So last thing, I just want to note this on the housing issue. America's got about a decade left of demographic support for housing. After 2032, deaths are projected to exceed births in this country, meaning population-driven housing demand weakens unless one of two things happen. Birth rates rise or immigration fills the gap. So that's 2032. You're talking about 7 years away is when the birth rate in this country will no longer exceed the death rate because you'll have a lot of baby boomers who are getting older and will start to sadly die. And we're not having enough kids. So you got to fill those gaps with either immigration or do something else, John.
Well, unless you're on the De Niro plan.
Yeah.
You could be reseeding as you go out,
John, I told you, I'm not feeling well. You can't make me laugh this morning, okay? You got to rein them in this morning, but I appreciate that.
Boss.
No, that's great. That's a great point. Pacino and De Niro, they're keeping things flowing in this country.
As they go.
Yeah, exactly right. Oh, my gosh. That's too much. All right, real quick here on this story. A man was beaten and robbed at gunpoint during sale of personal property yesterday afternoon in Olathe, 600 block of South Curtis Street. I looked it up. It's like a warehouse with nothing around it. It's like, boo, do not go meet people in random parking lots with nothing around it. You're go to a fast food place or do something.
Police stations have parking spaces dedicated.
This is
Quick Trip.
Yeah, I looked this up, 600 Curtis Street. I couldn't think of a worse place to meet somebody I didn't know than 600 Curtis Street in Olathe. Just Google map it, and you're going to be like, what was this guy thinking? Robbery happened at about 1:45 p.m. The victim told police during the sale he was robbed at gunpoint, beaten by 4 men. Channel 41 wrote here, descriptions of the 4 men were vague. Police said the suspects fled in an older car with black rims. And I'm like, vague? What does that mean? Just what do you know? about the identities of these guys. So finally, Channel 5 does a decent job. They say one of the suspects was described as being a man with blonde hair wearing a white T-shirt, another wearing a white ski mask, black hoodie, and blue ripped skinny jeans. So it's like a bunch of, my point is, I thought Woke 41 was trying to go woke on me here. And it's like, just tell us what you know. All right, it's losers in masks and skinny jeans. Thank you. Give me the information that I need. High schoolers are swapping the Ivy League for the SEC thanks to sunshine and campus culture. This story coming from Fox over the last couple of days. And it goes to show what states are losing college students and what states are gaining college students. Now, here in Kansas and Missouri, we are in the blue. These numbers are net migration of students between U.S. states during the 2022-2023 school year. Kansas gained 3,700 students. Missouri gained 452. So they were both net positive. Meantime, some of the biggest losers, New Jersey, off 27,000 students on net migration. That is basically how many students left New Jersey to go to college in another state versus how many students came from another state to go to school in New Jersey. Illinois, another big loser as well, minus 18,000. Minnesota, Washington, Nevada, California, and somewhat surprisingly, Texas also on this list. But a lot of those deep blue states in SEC country. North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee, Mississippi, Alabama, Florida, Arkansas, Oklahoma, and Kansas also is pretty blue here as well. So what's going on? Well, part of what's going on is that, and this is noted in the story, the students are admitting that if they stay in the Northeast, they get politics in their face all day, every day. The article quotes here Krista Peterson, an admissions counselor who works with wealthy clients in the Northeast. And she believes that prospective students are also drawn by the politics down south. They say it's less in their face when they are with their teachers. Wow. Mm-hmm. How about that? So they're a little liberal arts school in the Northeast. And here's the thing. These liberal arts schools in the Northeast, I've been to a couple of them, and they're always in these rundown, terrible communities. But the colleges are picturesque. They're beautiful. Perfect tree lines, beautiful old buildings, because they're gaming the system. And the system is raise tuition as much as you can. The government backstops all the tuition, basically pays for it. You put these kids in debt till they're, 60, 70 years old, and your checks keep clearing. Life is good. They can't default on them. And they're oftentimes in these rundown, just kind of run-of-the-mill communities in places across Pennsylvania and New York and New Hampshire and Connecticut and Massachusetts. And they have no business being what they are, but they've gamed this higher education system. And a lot of these kids are now saying, you know what? I don't want that for 4 years. You mean I can go watch some SEC football and not have somebody tell me that if I'm not on board with there being 7 genders, I'm not a fascist and a terrible person? Boy, how quickly can I sign up for that as an 18, 19-year-old guy, John?
Well, some football and libations. That's all I need for Saturday.
Bingo. I don't need some person protesting to me about how if I don't go along with their crazy gender ideology, I'm somehow like the worst person imaginable. Now, I'll take a hard pass on that. But here's the downside for some of these states. And I don't think we're dealing with this in Kansas or Missouri like there are maybe in the Carolinas, but this was noted in the piece. What's happening now is that they're losing political juice within the state capitals. So what you're seeing here is that these universities are accepting more out-of-state kids. And they're doing it in part because they claim, oh, well, we're getting less funding from the state than we used to get, so they're getting addicted to out-of-state tuition money. And then the states and the politicians get ticked off because they're like, hold on, South Carolina is supposed to be for South Carolina kids. And now you're taking in more out-of-state kids. And then they double down. And they say, well, we got to get the money somewhere. So it's this kind of tug of war going on where the colleges are addicted to money. The states are trying to say you've got enough money, but then what the colleges are doing is they're taking more out-of-state dollars to cover their shortfalls, John.
Right, because your in-state tuition is always cheaper than the out-of-state people.
Absolutely.
Right.
That's the name of the game.
Every in-state guy you got there, you got to make up.
So what they're doing, too, in some of these states is they're putting caps on out-of-state students. North Carolina has a cap of 18%. University of California has proposed a 10% cap by 2033. Texas guarantees admissions to its public universities to students in the top 10% of their high school, no matter what. But they are trying to put some caps on some of these states because if not, you're going to see more of these kids out of the Northeast flood down to the South, which I think is actually a positive trend for the future of the country. I actually think it's great they get out of those small liberal arts private schools in the Northeast and go to Georgia or South Carolina. I mean, nothing's perfect, but it's better. But there is some downside as well to the whole thing. That should be noted. And I think this trend is going to continue for quite some time. If you haven't seen this story, just know it's going to only grow over the next couple of days until they figure out what the heck's going on here. So there's a high school football coach in Big Gap, Virginia, and Big Stone Gap. And this is a small town, 5,000 people, and the head football coach is missing. And no one knows where he is. And it's in the middle of an undefeated season as this team is getting set for a state championship coming up here in just a few days. This is like something out of like Nancy Grace's playbook or I don't know what. But the guy's name is Travis Turner. He's the head coach at Union High School in Big Stone Gap, Virginia. Small community, 5,000 people. And he was still listed as missing as of yesterday afternoon. And what you now have going on is you've got basically a statewide manhunt for this guy. Now, to be clear, he's not in trouble for anything. He's just missing. They don't know where he is. He's got a wife. He's got 3 kids. Kids are not adults. I mean, they look like the boys are teenagers. The daughters maybe, 7, 8, 9, somewhere in there. But his wife put up a social media post last night urging people to continue to pray that her husband returns home after he mysteriously vanished late last week in the middle of an undefeated season. His wife, Leslie, posted on Facebook last night, "I just wanted to get on here for now for a second and clear something up. Travis is missing. That's all we know. We want you to continue to pray for him." So it's not obvious what exactly is going on here and where the coach is. They won their game last week without him on the sideline. They had their semifinal game. They won it without him there. Now they're getting set for a state championship, and he is nowhere to be found. So this is a crazy news story, and you're starting to see now NBC News, New York Post, some of the national outlets are starting to pick this thing up because no one knows what's going on. And now Virginia police have issued a statewide alert as of yesterday for this missing coach, John.
Yeah, I'd seen the headlines, so this is more than I know about. No missing vehicle or anything like that's mentioned, right?
No. It's crazy.
Right.
It's like, all right, the guy was last seen in the far southwest corner of the Virginia Commonwealth wearing a gray sweatshirt, sweatpants, and glasses. That's the last place he was seen. I don't know how far that is from his home. I'll try to pull that up. But, man, this thing is taking a lot of twists and turns over the last couple of days.
I've watched a lot of these documentaries on people that have gone missing and stuff, so I wonder if he left his cell phone somewhere, because usually you can track somebody if they take their cell phone with them, so I assume they've gone down that rabbit hole.
I would agree with that, but, think about, you're going on almost a week now. So he was last seen about a half hour away from Big Stone Gap. So not that far is the last place he was seen. Search teams with the help of dogs and drones were concentrating efforts yesterday around the town of Appalachia, where he lives. Agents with the Virginia Bureau of Criminal Investigation had been sent to Turner's residence in Appalachia on Thursday as part of the investigation. The agency's spokesperson stressed that last week's visit was not aimed at arresting Turner, but they did not elaborate. Now, something else I saw in a different story, and I'm bouncing between all these stories I was reading on this last night, is that there was an employee with the public schools where he works and where he's the head football coach that has been put on administrative leave. Now, we don't know how exactly that's tied to the investigation. Neither the cops nor the school would identify the person and what's going on there. But there's a school employee who has been put on leave since the investigation and search began for the head football coach.
Did they say male or female?
I was wondering that too there, Mark. That's a great question. They have not identified the person is how it's being dubbed. Because you're going where I'm going.
A runaway relationship?
Yes. That's exactly where my mind went with that, John.
Any Coldplay concerts in the area? Right?
I told you I'm sick.
Yeah.
Don't make me laugh. It's like the fourth time this morning. My throat's killing me here.
Mark showed me a meme with Trump and Clinton, and that face is superimposed in that meme.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
You guys are killing me. No, you're right, though. I mean, this feels like, at this point, a runaway relationship. But, you know, the wife's doing all the right things right now. She's saying, pray for his return. We need him back, blah, blah, blah. That's what you'd expect from the wife in this scenario. But she has also deleted Facebook posts over the last few days, which is a little sketchy as well. In a since-deleted Facebook post, Leslie Turner wrote last Friday night, I just want to clear something up. As of right now, 10:25 p.m. on Friday, Travis is missing, and that's all we know. And that was it. Nothing more to the Facebook post than that, and she has since deleted that Facebook post. So I don't know what's going on with that either. But this thing, listen, I know we're going into a holiday, and sometimes these stories fall by the wayside, but you combine high school football, family man, 46, little kids, small town America, championship season, undefeated. I mean, this is like Netflix documentary type stuff.
20,
is what this
48 hours.
Yeah, exactly.
Be waiting to see.
Exactly. So, you know, we may get more on this story coming up in the hours ahead. Who knows? There's a statewide manhunt out there for this high school football coach. And if he shows up, I mean, you'll be hearing about it. Travis Turner is his name as this story gets more and more national attention.